We have some public participation today. I think we will move ahead with Corinne Kingman. She's here from the Seaway Valley Prevention Council, and she's going to present us with some information about the survey that we did.
Yes. I'll pass her my card in case anybody wants one to contact me afterwards. Do you all have the presentation in front of you? Yes. Basically, I'm reporting on some of the information that we were able to take out of the planning assessments completed by the students in the fall of 2011, and to also roll out a underage drinking prevention grant that we're using this data to support. So, what did we learn from the prevention needs assessment? Well, first it's important to understand that the PNA evaluates risk factors associated with 4 domains. Those domains are community, family, school, and peer and individual. The prevalence of the risk factors in each domain are an indicator for the likelihood of potential problem behaviors in each of those areas. There are 3 top risk factors that were found in the needs assessment completed. And the most common risk factors affecting the students in this district fall into the family and community domains. You see a lot of family conflict, exposure to antisocial behavior, parenting attitudes favoring antisocial behavior, sibling drug use, and laws and norms that are favorable to use. Definitions of how each of these risk factors affect the youth are included at the bottom of slide 3 and in slide 4. I'm not going to read them right now, but you have them to review later. If you go to slide 4, we also identified the top 3 lacking protective factors. So these protection factors are what help kids not use. So the domains that are most lacking in this area are peer and individual domain with religiosity and interaction with pro-social peers, and in the community, rewards for pro-social involvement. On page 6, you will see the top 3 protective factors that exist. And the domains with the most protective factors include the peer and individual, the family, and the school. So in the peer and individual, there's a lot of belief in the moral order and pro-social involvement. In the family, there's opportunities for pro-social involvement, and in the school, there's rewards for pro-social involvement. Unfortunately, there's no strong protection factors in the community, so that is a concern. And again, definitions of each of these and how they affect youth are included in the next slide. So why do these risk and protection factors matter? Well, because they influence school performance, the likelihood of exhibiting antisocial and unsafe behaviors, and the likelihood of engaging in alcohol and substance abuse, which are all concerns in the school system. So now we move into graphs of what these students are reporting. So you see on the first one what their grades were like in the past year. You have a lot of students that are mostly in the A's and B's. You have very few that are failing. And this is important because academic failure in and of itself increases the risk of both drug use and delinquency. And it doesn't necessarily have to even be, I failed with an F. It just, I didn't succeed at this. So it's any type of failure within the academic school. Then there's also the experience of failure increases the risk of problem behaviors as well. The next slide shows how often schoolwork is meaningful, as reported by the students. And again, for the most part, kids are finding their work meaningful. This is important because factors such as liking school and spending time on homework and perceiving the coursework as relevant are also negatively related to drug use. So as that meaningfulness increases, their use goes down. They also report that there's lots of chances to get involved. There's very few students who don't think there's an opportunity for involvement, which is really great because when they have the opportunity to participate meaningfully, again, their drug use and problem behaviors are less likely. School notifies parents when they perform well. This one, in the next slide, which is my teacher notices a good job, They're both important because when young people are recognized and rewarded for their contributions, they're less likely to be involved in substance abuse and other problem behaviors. And the last slide is whether or not they've been bullied or picked on in the past year. We find that in 6th grade, it's more common than in the older years. So when the school system is focusing on bullying in programs and whatnot, it really needs to start in the younger years, because hopefully if you can cut it off sooner, it'll be even less going forward. So how can we decrease risk factors and increase protective factors? Well, that's part of why we're here to discuss the Underage Drinking Prevention Grant. The St. Lawrence County Communities That Care Coalition is looking to create a local task force to partner with us. The coalition was formed in 1997 by a group of people who saw a need within the county to improve the quality of life for youth. The vision of the coalition is that youth will be supported by a united community that fosters positive growth and development. And the overall mission of the coalition is to build partnerships and promote collaborations which sustain a healthy, supportive community. While the coalition does address a variety of issues within the community, like I said, right now the coalition is currently funded by a strategic prevention framework state incentive grant to implement an underage drinking prevention project. There's 6 communities in St. Lawrence County, and Edwards Knox is one of them. So what is this 5th SIG grant? This 5th SIG, in and of itself, is a formal process for going through a prevention plan. It starts with assessment, going on to capacity, planning, implementation, and evaluation. And all this is to be done with sustainability and cultural competence in mind. Again, while this grant targets underage drinking prevention, it will have a reaching effect on school performance, antisocial behaviors, and substance abuse, because risks and protective factors affect all aspects of a person's behavior. This project began in May 2011, and we're just currently reaching the implementation phase. As you can see, we've done a variety of assessment methods, both in the school, the community, and with focus groups. Our next step, where we'll be reaching out for data collection, is in July 2012. We'll have a shortened community underage drinking link survey that will be posted on the school's website sometime in July. So you can keep your eyes out for that, and please feel free to promote that within the community, because the more involvement we get from the community, the better we can serve you. So through all these data gathering efforts, we identified social access and community and family norms as the most variables of concern. So that's what we really want to address. So what we're going to do, our plan right now, is to implement a Safe Homes Pledge that will be looking possibly to the school to include with mailings and any type of orientation programs, just because the school does tend to be the center of the communities in rural areas. We'll also work on a social host policy. There is a social host policy in effect, but my understanding is that it's not always well enforced, or people have misperceptions of how it's enforced or who can be liable for a social host. So we're going to be doing media advocacy to get the word out, and we're going to follow it up with a social marketing campaign to help increase socially positive behaviors and decrease risk factors. We're also, as part of that marketing, going to be doing public education, which may include anything from leaflets to things being mailed home to speakers coming in, trainings, anything that the task force that's developed here locally thinks will reach the community here. Because we're trying to work on the community level down. We're not trying to work on an individual child. We're trying to change the culture. So how can you help? Well, first off, you can be a champion within your community. We're looking for parents, students, staff, existing parent and youth groups or organizations, religious leaders, and civic organizations. You can publicly support the CTC and the campaign. The school will be providing a link on the website, and other ways are to hold a community-wide event to promote the campaign, to include campaign-related material and mailings and newsletters, provide space for public events and meetings. Anyone in here and anyone in the community can join us on Facebook for real-time updates on the progress of the grant and what's going on, as well as find links to articles that are relevant. Attend the coalition meetings. We're going to have elections in June, so the next year, I don't know if the meeting time will change. Right now we meet on the second Wednesday of every month, but that may change. Currently we meet during the day, but again that may change as we're trying to get more community members involved. And then inform others of the CTC and our project. Does anybody have any questions? And really, with my card, feel free to hand or pass the information to other people, and feel free to contact me if you have any suggestions on who might be a great leader within your community that could take on this effort and maybe head up a local task force. Because we're really trying to get buy-in from the local parents, even non-parents, just adults, the youth as well, because the more involvement we have from the community, the more likely it is to have a cultural effect and a long-term effect, instead of it works while we're here and when the grant ends, that it all goes back to normal.
I did recommend that she go to the town meetings of Edwards and Russell, try to present the survey, talk to them, and see if they can get any more community involvement.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for the information. Mr. Peters. This is Tom Pete. He is our independent auditor. Please have a chair. He's going to do our pre-audit conference.
This is it.
This is it.
Hello. At the start, before the start of each year's audit, we do have to have a conference with you during the planning stages. I've got a couple of things that I need to communicate to the board. Basically, what our responsibility is, and that is to perform the audit and to issue opinions on the financial statements. In reality, the opinion is the only thing we take ownership of. The reports, the financials are yours, and they're your responsibility. As far as the scope and timing is concerned, we plan on starting the real year-end work the week of July 23rd. We'll probably come prior to that, do some preliminary work. The scope, I don't think, will change from the last couple of years. The format of the report really hasn't changed. Last year, we dealt with GASB 54, which was the reclassification and rehashing of the fund balance categories. We've got that behind us now, so no real changes there. We will, of course, be assessing internal control, doing a risk assessment, also doing some testing, nosing around, checking out to see that things are working as they should. And if we do, of course, come across any misstatements or errors or problems, we would communicate to those as part of the audit. That's really the required part. Beyond that, we've been to a couple of auditing conferences in the last month or so. Nothing new came out of those that I can really have a report to you. There is a new version of the Yellow Book, which is the governmental auditing standards. It doesn't really take effect until next year as far as the school is concerned. The main changes there have to deal with independence, and I've been all through that, and again, it's not anything that's going to affect this audit, even if it were effective for this year. We had our external peer review a year ago right now, so we have to have that every 3 years, so you've got a copy of that report. And I'll be doing the internal review this summer. As part of the audit, we'll be doing interviews with staff and management. I'd also like to pull in someone from the board. We can make arrangements for that again this year. We will go over a draft of the report at the conclusion of the field work prior to coming here in September or October with the real thing. give you a chance to take a look at that. I've taken a look at the federal awards that were budgeted for this year. I suspect that's pretty much what you're going to spend. So that, the federal portion of the school lunch, I think is going to be about $850,000 or in that range anyway. So I've got a pretty good idea of the federal programs that we're going to be testing this year. We try to mix those up from one year to the next so that over time we look at practically everything as far as the program is concerned. We have to look at the ARRA money again this year, so we'll do that. And that's about it. I don't see any major changes as far as scope or planning. I think we have a bit of a start already. Of course, we'll do read board minutes before we come here. I'd like to also, Carol, make some use of our portal this year. You can upload some documents to us through the portal. We're secure in the email, and of course you can door it up pretty good. And seems to work pretty well. So if we can do some of that, we'll get an even earlier start in July. So that's basically it. And we'll be available, and if anybody has any questions along the way, you know, how's it going, or what are we finding, or whatever, then just let us know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Board of Presidents. Assign all of them, sign this one.
And we have an acting board president tonight. Can she sign it or should we wait till?
That's fine. Sure.
We'll check.
Good. I'm glad. Thanks.
Thank you,
For your
Tom.
time.
Thank you.
All right, I think we have Mrs. Jen Prempey is here to talk about painting a mural in the building with students. Mrs. Prempey.
I have been working with the after-school grant program, and I'm going to be working this summer with the grant program. I wanted to do a mural with my after-school art club this year in the school, but time just didn't have that because I only had art club 1 day a week this year instead of 2, and there were a lot of my students that got involved with it. So I want to take the time over the summer to do one, and I believe everybody got like 4 pages that I had submitted with my basic ideas. What I'd like to do is, the students really enjoy learning about the artist Keith Haring, and he does very simple types of artwork that it's easy for the kids to do. It's pretty positive, self-fulfilling for them to do. And this was, the first page is just like my mock-up idea of something to do. I'd like to do it across from the elementary gym. I would like to paint right on the wall, right across from the first door. I have talked to Mr. Daniels about it, and the second page has some actual acrylic mural paint that I have found, and I have run it by him, and he says that it's okay to use indoors on the wall, there's no red in it, and it is mural paint, so it shouldn't cause any fires or anything. And he has given me permission that I can paint directly on the wall from the baseboard that runs along the bottom of the wall to the top, if I so choose to do it. But I would like to do it from, there's like a white brick that looks like a column right across from the first door down to just before the first window. So I would like to take that whole space up and do a mural that size with the kids. The third page is just some examples of artwork by Keith Haring. And I did contact the Keith Haring Association. Keith Haring is not an artist that's alive anymore, but I talked to somebody, sent them an email, corresponded with them, and they said that I would not have any problems as long as the kids aren't directly copying one of his artworks, which they won't be, that we won't have any issues with copyright or anything like that. So the last page is also a mural that many other school districts have done before, similar to what I'd like to do. So basically what I want to do is I want to have the kids physically active and like posing and movement poses, and then the other kids will do sketches of them, and then we'll turn them into actual Keith Haring style portraits of people on like big butcher block paper. And essentially what we do is we would cut them out and put them on the wall and trace them on the wall, so we have the layout out, and then just go right into painting. So that's what my plan is, and I think over the summer, I've talked to Diane, she's all for it, Diane Durham, who runs the grant, and she thinks we might have more students this year than we did last year over the summer, so that would give me probably 15 or 20 kids maybe, hopefully to help paint the mural. So that's what my plan is, so I just wanted to get approval so that we can do it.
Oh, thank you very much, it sounds like a fun time.
Does anybody have any questions about anything?
And thank you for bringing this to us and working with our kids.
Yeah,